Okay, I need answers on the poor planning on the aliens part here because they invade a planet that is 80% water
Yes.
where all
Foolish.
major cities have access to water in the world.
I know what it is. It was run by Kang and Kodos from The Simpsons. Do you remember them? What up, fools? Welcome to the Scary Movie Project. I am your host, Matt. It's happening. A widowed former reverend living with his children and brother on a Pennsylvania farm finds mysterious crop circles in their fields, which suggests something more frightening to come. If you didn't know what we were talking about, we are going to talk about the 2002 film Signs from M. Night Shyamalan. And while we're talking Signs, we're going to talk about his work overall because he has made a lot of quote-unquote scary movies. We'll discuss our thoughts on him. And when I say our thoughts, because it's me, of course, but I'm joined by a good friend of the show, Sara Alepin. Sara, hello. Welcome back. We love to have you on.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about this movie.
Okay, good. Do you want to discuss... I joked with when I had Bill on last time. Why are you on my show? Please tell us about yourself. Why the heck are you here?
I mean, I'm a big fan of the Scary Movie Project. I think it's so much fun to discuss things that you're super passionate about with you because it's always a hoot. You never know where it's going to go. And it's also educational at the same time. So
see,
that's
educational.
Why I'm here.
It's, we're not PBS, but damn, we can try, right?
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Educational content.
We're at least reading Rainbow adjacent, right?
Wasn't that a great show?
Oh my God, it was the best.
Do yourself a favor, everybody out there too. I'm not going to repeat this because it's vulgar. Do yourself a favor and later on go onto YouTube and search DMX Reading Rainbow. And if you need a laugh in your life, that is going to make you laugh for quite some time. That's all I'm going to say about that. Just do a Google search or a YouTube search on that. DMX Reading Rainbow. If you can kind of imagine that in your head, that go from there. So anyway, Signs. Okay, so I'm gonna say we're gonna talk about M. Night Shyamalan. I'm gonna give you my full thoughts on him a little bit later into this episode, but we'll start with his 2002 film Signs. Okay, so premise: we think it's aliens, I guess, right? Because there's crop circles and from all the ads we see and all those things. So he's got he's always got these A-list cast, right? Doesn't he? It seems like he's always got great people in his films.
Yeah.
So Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix, Abigail Breslin when she was like 3 years old. She's like, 25? She's like a superstar now. And one of the Culkins, there's like 10 of them. I don't know which one it is.
I wondered if that was a Culkin.
Of course. You have to have a Culkin in a movie, right? So one of them, Rory Culkin, I think is what it is, right? So it's only like 4 or 5 people in it. So he is what is he? He's a man of the cloth. Is he a clergy? He's a reverend. He's a priest.
He's a reverend, and I don't know I don't know what the actual classification is on man of the cloth, but I think that's a Catholic reference, and a reverend would be Protestant, but I don't know.
I don't know what religion he is, but he's apparently having issue with his faith. He's left his faith, or he's not doing it anymore. I guess we find out because his wife passed away, and he's, however you deal with these things and things like that, he's decided it wasn't for him anymore. He's got his brother, Joaquin Phoenix, living with him and raising his kids. They're on some little isolated farm outside. But Shyamalan always does his movies outside, like Philly based, right? Somewhere near that.
Bucks County.
There. Yep. They got a farm, and they start to see crop circles, right? And weird stuff starts to happen, like the dog starts to go crazy and animals, and the sheriff is talking to him. And just stuff starts to happen, and it's weird, and it's stuff that, I don't know, like, would you think that would be associated with like paranormal, extraterrestrial, that odd things would happen in addition to that? I don't know, because I've never had that happen. And then it starts to like happen in the world. Like people start seeing these things on TV, and it's on news reports, and everybody, they all get caught up, and they're wearing the aluminum foil hats. It's just they're getting all crazy. His brother's like, this is all nonsense. And his brother, by the way, was a former minor league baseball player, right? Who could never get to the majors. So weird stuff starts to happen. They see stuff on TV, There's that one great scene that was in one of these scary movie moment shows I saw that I love, where Joaquin Phoenix's character is watching some of this, and he's watching some video from Mexico, right? And it's this birthday party, and you're like, well, what is this? What is this? And these kids, because they keep seeing something outside, and this home video shows this little alleyway, and there's nothing there, and all of a sudden you see this just gray. What's the word for? What do you call like these? What do you call the aliens? They have like words for them. They call them grays, I guess.
Yeah,
sometimes,
they call
right?
them grays. Yeah,
yeah. It's just a gray, and boom, he just runs by real fast. And you're like, whoa! And even his character is like, oh god,
yes.
So that was pretty good. That was a pretty cool spooky moment in the movie. And the cool thing, he has the baby monitor, and it can somehow listen in, and he can hear all the signals through that. Remember?
Yeah.
I didn't like the scene with the dog dying. We don't do dead animals on the show. People getting killed by monsters is great, but we don't do the dogs. We don't do that. We don't like that. But yeah, that happened. And then we see what happened with his wife. Again, M. Night Shyamalan always appears in his movies. He shows up as the guy who was responsible for the crash that killed his wife. And they keep doing these flashback things. And what's that scene? He's sitting on the couch with his brother, and he's telling him, remember what he's talking about? Miracles or something? I don't remember what was.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what he said, right? But some people believe in them, and some people just think things happen, he says, or something like that.
Yeah, some people think that they're a sign of something. This is like kind of the premise of why it became named Signs.
Exactly.
I don't know if you know, it was supposed to be called The Alien Bulletin.
Yeah, I don't like that title so much.
Or Visitors.
Visitors I'd be okay with. I'd be okay with Visitors.
I'm a little bit more okay with that, although I think Signs is better. And you're absolutely right that is like one of the reasons he named it that, because he says, some people, they see these things happening and they interpret it as being a meaningful moment, and then other people just see it as being a moment as it passes.
Right. So I think that was important in there. And he mentions something, swing away. It's what so we find out later, well, I'll stick with them. I'm going to get out of line here. But yeah, he says his wife was just mumbling stuff, when she was dying, she didn't know what she was saying or whatever. Swing away, right? So, and there's that funny scene. I love when he goes to the pharmacy and he starts talking to like a teenage girl that works there. She's like, can I give you a confession or whatever? And he listens to her, and then he goes to meet them all for pizza and goes, whatever you do, don't ever talk to so-and-so ever again.
She starts laundry listing all this stuff, and you just see his face.
There's like people in line behind him, like, what the hell? What are you doing, dude? Like, come on. That was great. That was a great scene. And we keep seeing the police officer. She's like a big part of this movie. So then I guess the scene where he sees the guy, Shyamalan's character, who was responsible for his wife, that he goes to visit him at his house, and he's all distraught and weirded out and says he's leaving. He's going to a lake because they don't like it there. The aliens don't like water, apparently, I guess, right? And he tells him, oh, by the way, I have one in my cabinet. Don't mess with him or something, right?
Yeah, in the pantry.
So he goes in there, and pretty ingenious idea. He gets like a knife to use as a mirror under the door. It's pretty smart. And you don't see anything, but then he does it again. You see those like claws that come up, right? And that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And he just, boom, he chops his freaking 3 of his fingers off, 3 of its digits off. So you know this isn't a made up sting. There's a monster. There's something there.
Yeah.
It is not human. And then of course they go back to the house and they hear more, and they have the night in the basement where the son has the asthma attack, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a real life scare, right? And he's able to coach him. He's able to get him through it. He lives. He makes it. They get through the night. Was there something significant that was happening in that scene at night? I don't remember.
Yeah. So, first they board up the house, and they take a vote, and they decide to stay there.
Oh, yeah. Vote. Who wants to stay? And he says, my vote counts as 2. That's not fair. Yeah. He says, yeah. Okay. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and then Bo changes her vote because this is where Mom used to live, after he says, my vote's 2 because I count as both parents. And and then it's 3-2. So then they start boarding up the house, and he says, why do you, or, and Joaquin Phoenix, Meryl says, why do you
Meryl,
think that
yes.
this is gonna actually, keep them out? Why do you think this is gonna work? And he said, they seem to have trouble with pantry doors.
Yeah, that's right.
So he thinks that they'll,
Yeah.
but then of course they forget to get the dog. So then the other dog ends up getting.
Can I just ask a question? I mean, this is for maybe you have to be a dog owner. I don't know. How, when you're boarding up your house in an emergency, please explain to me how on the goddamn world do you forget your dog? How
I,
do you how?
I,
I don't understand this.
as a former country person who grew
I'm
up.
not going to start getting into the whole hurricane thing either, to people that chain their, I'm not going to get into that stuff cuz I don't want to do that.
I don't know anything
But I
about
just
that.
Oh, no, when people go, when a hurricane hits and they just leave their pets and they just leave.
Oh my God.
That's, like I said, I'm not getting into that stuff. But yeah, how do you forget the dog? How? I don't
So
understand
the
this.
only thing I can think of, one, I absolutely can't relate, but I do remember people used to chain their dogs up outside and they would leave them out overnight all the time in the country. It was
Sure.
totally normal.
Yeah. People do that
Also,
now.
you and I never had normal, like, outdoor style dogs. I have a French bulldog. You
I
have a
mean,
corgi.
my dog would prefer, any dog would prefer to live outside, right? Quite frankly. But it's just, yeah, I mean, fair enough. But how could you have forgot? Oh,
I don't know. I mean, honestly,
I
I
don't get
don't
it.
think those dogs ever came inside. And
They
actually,
had, they lived on a farm, fair enough. All right. All right.
yeah,
But
I think that probably is how that happened.
oh,
And they left her in the barn, so she wasn't like outside,
right.
outside.
Okay. All right. I
Um,
feel a little better about that than
but
maybe.
the first dog that they ended up having, didn't he go
Oh,
crazy and they had
man.
to kill it? Yeah, they had to kill
Well,
it
yeah, you kill
themselves.
them with the damn barbecue
Yeah.
steak. Yeah, I don't
So
like that scene.
I didn't either. I feel like those are always just really triggering for people that care at all about animals, probably for most people, but I mean, I care a lot about animals, so there's that.
The
But
funniest part is, though, I love about those movies is, you can kill like 1,000 humans, quite frankly, and be as graphic as you want. I don't care, but don't kill any dogs.
I know it's so weird. You have like a visceral
Don't kill
reaction.
any dogs.
I think it's because it's like a responsibility that we have, like as people, like we're responsible for an animal. Um,
Have you seen The Conjuring?
yes.
Okay. Do you remember the beginning and the scene with the dog, and the dog unfortunately dies?
I'm trying to remember which one The Conjuring was. And
Well,
I
never
feel
mind.
like
It's
The
so long.
Conjuring is one of the ones that you and Tara both really like.
I don't know if we never reviewed it. I don't know if she's seen it, quite frankly. I think it's a great movie, but I had a funny story about the dog, but whatever. We've now gone off on a dead dog tangent that I don't want to get into.
Um,
Anyway.
Well, on the subject of the dog, the reason we know in the beginning like something is fishy with M. Night Shyamalan's character is because when the dog starts acting up before they have to kill it, he
Yep.
does not want to take it to the vet. Like
Right.
he is just like very against taking it to the vet. And at that
Because he
point, we
peed
don't
in the
know.
kitchen or whatever, and he says, I'll
Yeah.
call so-and-so. He'll know what to do or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, no,
Right.
like not interested in this part of my life. And
Right.
then we find out, of course, that it's M. Night Shyamalan's character who killed his wife.
I mean, obviously not on purpose, whatever, but like that's the whole thing too. Well, I guess we'll get that at the end, but yeah, and so what were we talking about? The scene in the basement, right?
Yes.
The night they stayed.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's the alien comes down from the roof. So the alien is trying to make noise to just like distract them outside the door.
Remember
And then it
earlier
comes
the two of
down the
them?
coal chute.
Yeah, remember earlier the two of them were chasing the alien outside on the roof, they thought? That's right, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that it comes down the coal chute. And that was actually a reference to the War of the Worlds.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was really interesting.
It's a good movie to make that for. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that felt like a little and not very obvious. If you didn't know, you don't know. And I didn't know, I looked it up. But to be clear.
It's a good example to use that in. That's cool.
Yeah, I thought so too. There are a lot of little like Easter eggs in this movie that I thought were really actually pretty interesting. It's one of the reasons I thought you might actually be interested in this movie.
I thought I was entertaining for me. I didn't hate it.
Well, that's good. You gave it a medium.
Give it a schmedium. Yeah.
I love it. All right. So they end up getting out of the basement, and then I'll turn this back over to you for your synopsis of.
Then they come back upstairs, and it's morning, it's daytime, and then they're in the son is still like, he's all jacked up still, of course, because he needs an inhaler, he needs medication, whatever. And they come back in the living room, and there's a great shot where they're sitting in front of the TV, and he looks up and he sees the reflection of the TV, and there's one of the Greys, one of the aliens, is in the house. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm not sure what I would do in this situation. And they all stop, and they all have a reaction to it, which is great. And I guess Mel Gibson's character, what does he say to him? He says, don't mess with them or something. And then he says, oh, swing away. And he starts to think about what his wife said, swing away. And so Meryl, or his brother, or whoever was with the character's name, Joaquin Phoenix, goes and grabs the baseball bat off the wall, and he just starts whooping ass on this alien, just starts beating him up. But before that happens, what happens is the alien grabs the son, and he picks up the kid. And so you don't know what's going to happen. And then he blows some sort of like, voodoo zombie dust into this kid. And you're like, oh, crap, what's going to happen now? So he starts beating him up, drops the kid, whatever, starts wailing on him. While that's happening, Mel Gibson's character runs with the kid outside. He finds him. What does he give him a shot of?
Epinephrine.
There you go. And he says it won't hurt him because his lungs were closed up anyway, so whatever he sprayed on won't bother him. Joaquin Phoenix is whooping ass. He's kicking his butt. And then the great part is rewinding earlier to remember the little girl, the daughter, was always saying she could only drink a sip of a glass of water because it was what she said. It was
it had dust in it,
contaminated,
or it was old, or it was contaminated. Yeah.
She's being a 3-year-old. I mean, whatever, right? And there's just these glasses of water all over the house, and you forgot about them until they start falling on the alien, drip, 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 and you're like, oh yeah, water. Oh my god. So all these glasses of water start falling on the alien and killing him or melting him, whatever it has to do. And then Joaquin Phoenix character runs back out, and they're like, you don't know what's going to happen to the kid. And he swears, he's like, hold on, guys, hold on. He's going to be okay. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. And he's okay. So it's like, is that the moment of faith right there that, he was looking for, that he needed to, bring his life back together to where he wanted to be? I don't know. And then, I guess he thinks about, we have another flashback to actually the car crash of his wife. And him getting there, and the sheriff being very slow and concise and clearly explaining, this is what happened. Like, basically, your wife is like a minute away from dying, and we can't move the truck because she'll die. Like, do you understand what I'm telling you right now? And he's like, yeah, it's the last time I'll ever talk to her, right? Yeah. So he goes over there, and he's able to get like a last minute. It's one of those things like if you have like a serious injury, or like something like that, like you have this clarity moment where nothing hurts anymore and you're fine for like 5 minutes, and then like you either die or you put under for some sort of surgery or whatever your injury is, I guess. Adrenaline and whatever runs through you. Yeah. And she's able to tell him, like, take care of the kids and do this. And then you see Shyamalan's character sitting on the side of the road, like, I can't believe what happened. So you finally see that. So that was a moment of like, wow. If you've ever watched someone die before, you relate to that moment. It's very difficult. So that's a hard thing to like put. That's a hard thing to be able to, I think, to shoot, to put on film. I think that's very difficult. Yeah. Especially if you've seen it, to try to recreate that. It brings everything back that you might have felt. So that was well done. And then what does happen at the very end?
I can tell you why that was so well done if you would like to know.
I would. I just wanted to say at the very end, though, and we finally find out that the aliens all leave. And then he decides to go back to his practice, right?
Yeah,
I guess in the
he
end,
goes back to his faith,
and that's it. And you're like, okay, so I have many thoughts, but did you want to jump in with what you're about to say about that scene?
Yeah, sure. So I didn't realize this, and I feel like it kind of brought it together when I read this fact, how it was like so emotionally impactful, because even thinking about it like makes me choke up a little bit. And so It was actually it was scheduled for September 12th, 2001, and so they
Okay.
did a candlelight
Yep.
vigil, and then they filmed it right on that spot immediately following.
I have heard quite a few stories over the years of movies that were either supposed to have had scenes that day or there was casting that day for stuff. And I've over the years, I've heard these stories. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I
Okay.
thought that was especially, I
Yeah.
mean, that is such an emotional scene.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because you have to, you're now in a position where you have to say goodbye to someone who you said you were going to spend the rest, and you're thrust into it within a matter of seconds. It is
And
literally an impossibility. You can do it when it's happening, but then the time afterwards of trying to recover from that is like beyond traumatic. I don't. His decision to leave what he was doing makes perfect sense because
oh
his life
yeah.
is wrecked. I mean, I don't know what else do you do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I would
like
have done
that
the
part,
same thing.
like that part is great. I mean, great when I mean like it was the way it was done. It was done very well because that means different things to different people. I don't know. You can't shoot a perfect scene like, oh, that was a nice scene where someone died. Like that's just,
Yeah.
it's just, it is what it is. But so yeah, lots of, I don't know. So is it a horror movie? They consider it one, I suppose, because it has aliens, I guess, whatever. Sci-fi horror, I don't know. There's creepy moments to it, right? It's kind of spooky.
There's some jump
Aliens,
scares.
aliens are interesting. I mean, I am of the firm belief that if they ever invade, they're like the aliens in the Alien movies, like Sigourney Weaver, and we're pretty much screwed if that happens because those things are gnarly. And
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
regarding this, like, and not to, I'm going to set you off on a tangent here, and I totally know what I'm not
it's okay.
intending to, but it's going to happen. I know it.
It's okay.
So, okay, I need answers on the poor planning on the aliens' part here because they invade a planet that is 80% water,
Yes.
where all
Foolish.
major cities have access to water in the world.
I know what it is. It was run by Kang and Kodos from The Simpsons. Do you remember them? How stupid were they though, right? Weren't they the dumbest aliens like ever?
Oh my god.
Right. That would be their planning. They wouldn't have thought of that about that. We're merely exchanging protein strands. If you have a different way of doing it, please let us know. Yeah, that's what it is. They're the ones that invaded and they didn't think about it. That's my take. Yeah.
I just like it's like okay, so like think about like
You're supposed to be this intelligent race, but you didn't know there was all this water.
yeah, like you
Right.
couldn't see it. Like
And then
we've
it
seen
rains
pictures from space.
every couple days. It comes out of the sky as well. Yeah, you definitely would have thought they would have thought that through. So I don't know, man. Maybe they're not as smart as we thought, but yeah. But I think when they come, they are going to be like the ones in the Alien movies, which is just not going to be good for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that that's not going to be anytime soon.
Who knows? Who knows?
And I realize part of the premise of this whole thing was that like, and they talk about this in it, is like this is a recon unit that came to like check out the planet. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can see the water from space. Like you can see it, and if it's the
So
one
what
thing
if-
that kills you, like
What if
you
they don't know?
go.
What if they don't have water, and what if they have no idea what it is?
I mean, then why
Right.
would they?
What if there's another planet there's something on that planet that we don't know what it is? And am I making sense? I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, like if there's a different resource or whatever, or
Right.
there is just no water and there's no vegetation then and whatever. But
And they don't know that they would kill them. They don't know that.
it just makes it hard for me to buy. I feel like that's a major hole in this story.
You know what? I honestly never even really thought about that when I was watching it, but that's, now that I think about it, it's a great point. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's Kang and Kodos from The Simpsons. They were those two were some dumbass aliens, and maybe that's what it is. But that's a great point. So how much Independence Day vibes did you get from it? Any?
I mean, the aliens look very similar. Very similar. I mean, even in like the height and like even their mannerisms, they actually tried to use females in the suits because they don't use
Mm.
CGI. I don't think they use CGI in
No, I think
Independence Day
it's.
either, did they?
I don't think so. I don't know.
So
I don't think
both of
so.
them were actually like outfitted in that way. They tried to use women, but apparently we were not confrontational enough
Ah,
for M.
interesting.
Night Shyamalan, so they had to
Okay.
replace it with men,
Okay.
with very
Interesting.
thin men that were supposed
Yeah,
to look emaciated.
I
But
guess
the
so.
one at the Brazilian birthday party is actually the only woman that made the cut.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, and that was
Um,
one of the great scenes.
it was
Yeah.
voted as one of the scariest scenes
Yes, that was
by
the one
movie critics.
I mentioned. Yeah, that was on that show I watched. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. They yeah don't show too much of the monster. I guess maybe they showed a little bit. I always like don't show not showing a whole lot of it. But
Yeah.
I think it was just enough. But it was good because you never were really sure if it was real or not, and they actually it really is aliens. Yes, here they are.
Yeah.
We're not just going to pretend they are. So yeah, different themes of stuff. Yeah. Is it, talking about religion? Is it a movie about a guy who's finding his faith, dealing with his loss? All of the above, right? I
Yeah.
don't know. Movies
Yeah.
are always about something else, right? I say that all the time. A movie's about aliens, but it's about many other things. Or movies are about zombies. George Romero's Zombie, Day of the Dead. They're all about other things, though, right? It's like, so, I don't know.
It's funny you bring up, I'm trying to find it in my notes. So I thought you would think this was interesting because his inspiration for this, M. Night Shyamalan's inspiration, was The Birds, Night of the Living Dead, and The Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
That all makes sense. All makes sense. Yep, totally. That's exactly. I think that's right on. Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. I didn't have a whole lot of expectation. Do you enjoy this movie? Is it a yes or a no?
I do enjoy this movie. I was absolutely terrified of it when I saw it
Really?
initially.
Okay.
So I saw, again, I grew up in the country, so I saw
Right.
it at a drive-in theater. We used to take.
Yeah, this is kind of the second movie we've done that kind of is in the same space, isn't it?
Probably.
Yeah. Because Quiet Place was on a farm. We're going to continue these farm. Wow. Okay. And I never really thought about that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that is really funny, and it's interesting because I think it might be because of the things that scare me.
You're subconsciously making us watch these. Yes, you are.
Yes, the ones that actually scare me, like that,
Yep.
that like left an imprint in my brain. So we watched that at a drive-in theater surrounded by cornfields.
Oh, that would be awesome.
We used to take the sofa, like this old, like patterned denim sofa out of my parents' basement, put it in the back of the pickup, drive it down, and take the sofa out and put the sofa in front of the car.
Why not? I would do that too. I would absolutely. That sounds like a great idea right now, quite frankly. I'll do it now. Let's go.
I know, it was so fun.
Let's
It
put a
was
sofa
so
on a truck.
fun. And this was one of the two. It was a double feature, and the first one was funny,
yeah, what
and the
else?
second one was this. And
Okay.
so it wrecked me. So I actually do like this movie. I made Philippe watch it, my husband, a couple years ago, and he did not find it as impactful as me. I think it might have been specifically that. The way I watched it was really impactful too.
Okay, that makes sense.
Also, highly recommend the sofa at the drive-in.
I mean, right now that's a pretty great idea. Did you ever see Twister? I hope you did.
Yes.
Twister is a great movie. By the way, public service announcement for everyone out there. When you watch Twister, if you have surround sound, turn your surround sound on.
Yes.
That is the single greatest movie I've ever seen on surround sound. It is like there is a monster in your house with the wind, and oh my God, it's incredible. I love that movie. But remember at the end, when the Twister comes to that small town, it tears up a drive-thru. What were they watching on that drive-thru? Do you remember?
Oh my God, I remember this moment because it's we used to go to the drive-thru the drive-in all the time. Now I don't remember.
The Shining.
Oh my God.
They're watching The Shining as the screen in the theater get ripped apart by the tornado. Yeah.
I thought it was The Birds.
No, The Shining. Pretty awesome. Anyway, tangent, random there. But I mean, yeah, I like the couch idea. That would be great to watch it in the court. Wow, that would be.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, like, think about how, like, and this was high school for me. So, or I guess it was actually, it was the summer before I went away to college. It was like our last summer to, like,
2002. Yeah.
yeah. So it was our last summer to, like, be silly and whatever. I mean, of course, I still live that life.
Last time to be silly. What are you talking? Yeah. What? Who says that?
But you always like think that you're going off to college to become an adult, and that means something when you're.
It's a horrible idea. I don't recommend it. But speaking of recommending, all right, so we both say this movie's fine. Okay, which
Yeah.
leads me, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to elaborate.
Drum roll.
This might take a while. Please stay with me. All right, I'm just gonna. To most people, I know this. I do not care for M. Night Shyamalan and his movies. I really don't. I have problems with him. This movie, again, I had no expectation of it. So, all right, he makes The Sixth Sense in 1999. That's a great movie. It is really good. It's scary. It's well done. It has all these great atmospheric, the red color, all these different things.
The lighting.
Yeah, so exactly. And I'll mention that stuff. I want to give him his due for the guy is trained. He went to NYU Film School, the Tisch School, which I would love to have gone to. It's wonderful. Scorsese, Eli Roth, like it's like one of the great places to go. He is a filmmaker. He knows how to he knows how to lens a shot. He knows what light to use on this. He knows what mics to use. He knows the crew. He knows what to do. He gets A-list cast. Sam Jackson, Bruce Willis, Mel Gibson. He gets incredible actors. He made The Sixth Sense, and he made a movie Unbreakable. Now, Unbreakable is not a horror film. It's a great movie, though. And after that, it's crap. It's just... And when I say he's good at making a movie, he gets like 95% of the way there. And then this 5% at the end ends up being 100% of what I hate. Okay?
I know, and it's such a bummer because it's built and it's built and it's good and it's good, and then it's like...
Yeah. So Sixth Sense, good, Unbreakable. He's on a roll. He makes the Village. I was so angry at the end of that movie when we turned. We have you seen it?
Yeah,
you seen it? Well, we ruin movies on this show, so it doesn't matter. But when I found out it wasn't a little eerie village with a monster and there was planes flying by in modern day, I wanted to drive to Philly and like knock on his door and be like, "What? Why did you do this? What is wrong with you?" I was so mad. Right now, fair enough to say, all right, was that marketing? Was the the trailers? I've edited lots of stuff and to make it look like it is something else and whatever. Was that a fault of marketing to make it seem like this and pull you in? I don't know. Okay. He made a movie called The Happening. Spoiler alert, nothing happens.
Oh my God.
It stinks. All right.
Except knife sounds. A lot of like
oh my God. Yes.
Like
I don't
things
know.
stabbing into people, like glass, and it's
I love Mark Wahlberg.
Because
I go back to Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, back in the day, right? Good Vibrations. That's my dude. And he's in one of the great movies of all time, The Departed, but that's for another day. But that movie is terrible, and it just goes downhill. He made some Airbender movie that no one can stand.
I just didn't even realize that was his. It's not on brand for him.
He made a movie. You got to do different stuff. But he made a movie called Devil, which it's a movie about people stuck in an elevator. I could never watch that because I am terrified of elevators, so that's a whole other thing. So I can't watch that movie to begin with.
Agreed.
But I'm sure it's stunk. And then let's see, The Visit. I have not seen. I've heard good things about that though. And then he made these follow-ups like Split and Glass, which were sequels to the Unbreakable, riding the coattails. And now he's got this Knock at the Cabin out, like literally now. And a friend of mine said she was going to see it. I've not gotten a return back on that, so I can't give you feedback yet, but it's out now. So go see it, I guess.
I did get some feedback that I thought you'd be interested in that I didn't want to tell you about when we were doing our pre-show thing.
M. Night Shyamalan, let me tell you, man, you mean well. I'm sure you do, but you're killing me, dude. You're just killing me.
I know.
There was a sci-fi thing once. Did you ever see this thing on sci-fi, like The Mystery of M. Night Shyamalan or something? It was a total hoax. Do you know about
No.
this?
No.
It was this phony documentary sci-fi made about him when he was doing The Village or something. You got to Google it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was this weird thing. It was pretty cool by him to make. So look, and again, like you can make movies, okay? But these twists and these silly stuff, like I can't do it anymore, dude. I can't. You know? And let me say something. I love The Sixth Sense, but you've got to be kidding me that we were shocked that Bruce Willis's character is dead. He's obviously dead. How is this a surprise at the end of this movie? We saw him. Come on, dude. I'm not buying that part. I didn't like that. Anyway, I don't know. I'm sorry. That was the best I can. I don't want to go on and on and on here, but like I want to like his scary movies. I want to like them. And I remember renting The Happening and sitting there with the remote in my hand, wondering, should I press yes to do this? And once I rented it and spent the $4 or $5, I'm done. I'm done with you at this point. We're not watching your stuff anymore. I can't do it anymore.
That one was like especially disappointing to me. I think that like if I was going to rank his movies, that one was the worst that I've seen. I have not seen Airbender. I can't speak to that. I did hear terrible things about it.
Awful. That was panned by everybody.
I want to really respect him too, because like you said, he did go to Tisch.
He knows how to make a movie. Yes.
Well, I mean, like James Newton Howard scored the entire movie of Signs from the storyboards.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and he gets these and yeah, he does all the right stuff, except it's like when they talk about people, you know, they always mention these studies you see about people that have like diabetes or heart disease or whatever. And it's always like, the 3% make up the 70%. You know what I mean? Like he gets the 90% of it done, but the 10% makes 100% ruining it for you.
I know,
you know
and it just sinks the whole thing.
Right.
And like you want to watch The Happening and then just not watch the end, kind of. Like it's like, I don't know, it's like it's good during, like if you just turned it off at a certain point and just stopped and wrote the rest of it in your brain, it would probably be okay. I
Lady
say this
in the
as
Water.
I didn't see that
Lady
one
in
either.
The Water? Or no, was that the Oscar movie? Ugh, I can't remember. Well, I don't know. Anyway.
I think that was him, Lady in the Water. I think that was the title of it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I didn't see that one either.
Not The Shape of Water. That was the one that I was
The Shape of Water is the one that won the Oscar. That's right. Okay, so he did Lady in the Water. That's right.
Yeah, I didn't see that movie. I thought it seemed a little bit weird, and I don't know.
Was that Guillermo del Toro, though? Who's great. But anyway.
Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. The theme of it's a little gross.
Okay. All right. I'd like to see it at some point. If it's
emotionally, I have a lot of trouble with, and this could be because I was a high school teacher. Anything that has an adolescent sort of personality, when you start to get into any sexual conduct in that situation, it really skeeves me like big time.
So that's interesting. If we're talking about the same thing, because I just shameless promotion as we do around here. Please go to hilltopvideos.com to read my latest review on Fright Night, great 80s film. Have you seen Fright Night? Original? Okay. Well, same kind of thing where our character is supposed to be a high school teenage girl and into some very suggestive, deeply sexual situations, which is nowadays wouldn't go over well if you made a movie like that. I don't think that would go over well.
They just made that, what's that pizza or something movie where it's like a 24-year-old and a 16-year-old or 14-year-old or something?
Oh,
it just came out like over the summer.
There's a movie called Trees Lounge, an old movie that Steve Buscemi is in, where it's that same kind of concept. He's an old creepy guy. Yeah, I don't like watching stuff like it's very uncomfortable. No, yeah, I don't want.
Even if it's like an amorphic creature for me, there's just something like that grosses me out about it.
That shouldn't be made. No,
I don't know. That's why I didn't want to see it, because I knew the story behind it.
Fair enough.
I knew it would make me grossed out.
Yeah.
And I'm not one to be easily grossed out either, unless it's like really extreme. Like I can't watch like Hostel.
We should review Hostel and Hostel Part 2. Eli Roth, that's my dude.
You totally can. I won't be part of it.
Okay. All right. You're missing out. They're good.
I might
wish
listen
make a part
to it.
3. I wish
God,
you'd make a part 3.
the audio of it, it's just, my roommates watched it after, like, at the house after I graduated from college, and they watched it so loud I could like hear it in my room, and it gave me nightmares for weeks, even though I
You
didn't see a
definitely don't want to
single
see it
scene.
then.
Yeah.
No, it's there's some pretty rough scenes in it. I can watch literally anything. I mean, really anything. So it's fine by me, but there are some scenes that are pretty rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a porno. It's not, people think it, they call it gorno was the term they used for it. It's not like that though. There's way worse stuff out there. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
All I know is the sounds of the saws and the things.
Oh yeah. Sometimes that's enough, right? It's all you need to hear is those sounds. Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah. It wrecked my day.
Maybe M. Night Shyamalan should make a Hostel movie. Maybe I'd watch it. But no, I can't watch any more of his stuff. I would need to have multiple people tell me it's very good to do it. I don't know, man. Means well. I get it. And if you listen, Mr. Shyamalan, if you ever want to make a movie, I'm happy to. I'd love to work with you if you'd like. I'd be happy to work on your crew for you. The vision is there. The technical aspect is there. Like it's all there. It's just, I don't know. These twist endings, they're just not doing it for me. They're just not. It's not for me. And that doesn't mean that it's wrong or right. It just means it's not for me.
I think
That's
most of them, the twist just doesn't go all the way around or something. It's like,
it's just, why did you do that? Like, why? This is stupid. Why it doesn't? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I honestly think he might not take it the step far enough for it to land. Yeah. So it just kind of like stays like mid-air. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. But I do wonder too. I talked to someone the other day about it. We were talking about the marketing. Like when you cut a movie trailer, you can cut a movie trailer to make it look like anything. I just wonder sometimes if that's what's going on. As we know, like the Village, that it was such a spooky looking thing and it just wasn't. Do you want to just mess with people and make it that way? Do you not care? I don't know. But it's
that was another one that like broke my heart a little bit, because the person in the end that dies, I feel so guilty spoiling things, but is
which movie?
In the Village.
Oh yeah.
Is like the kid that has like a mental disability of some kind, that is undiagnosed because they have him living in this room, like remote place where there is no medication and there is no.
Adrian Brody's character, right? You're talking about?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Remote place.
I like that you said that. Did you watch The Walking Dead when it was on?
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching a few episodes in the last couple of months because it ended, and now I'm kind of watching it again. Very good point. Do you remember the when Carol has to kill that one little girl because she's all screwed up?
Oh my God, yes.
And the reality of it is, the world now, there's no psychiatrist to bring that girl to. And you can't help her at this point. So you have to literally, like an old lame, God, we're doing it again, an old lame dog, you got to bring her out and shoot her. And it's like awful, but yeah, I never thought about that. What happens to someone who has mental issues and things like that and live in that world where there's no real society anymore?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, because that little girl's like a sociopath.
She's crazy.
Undiagnosed without any sort of background in diagnosis.
Why did you kill the zombie? He was my friend. He was trying to eat you. He's not your friend.
Yeah. God, anyway, and she kills her sister.
Yes, she sure does. And that's when you finally have to be like, okay, this has to stop.
Yeah.
So yeah. But again, the guy can tell stories, whatever. But it's just, man, he just makes me so mad at the end. I just can't do it anymore. So anyway, there you go. That's my thoughts on M. Night Shyamalan and his movies. So take it to what you mean from it, and whatever. Maybe A Knock at the Cabin's amazing. Maybe I'll watch it like 10 times.
Oh,
I don't know.
So you just triggered my memory. I forgot I was going to tell you what I heard from feedback about that. So he shoots it all on old cameras, like old camera equipment.
See, that's really cool.
So yes and no,
Dracula,
from what I heard.
The scene in Dracula where they're walking down the street and he gets the newspaper was shot with an old 100-year-old camera, and it's amazing. Yep.
Yeah. So this is a lot of extreme close-ups. Like the whole movie, like I heard it was really, really good from
Like
people who
Wayne's
actually
World, extreme close up. Whoa! Love it.
Yes. So apparently it's a lot of like really tight close-ups.
All right.
I don't know if it has anything to do with the lenses he was using, or I feel like that would have been something he planned out, so that would surprise me. But other than that, I heard that the storyline is very good, and that is probably the thing that we would complain about, is that it's a lot of close-ups that feel like it doesn't need to be that many close-ups.
Okay. Sorry, I love that. Old. Did you see Old, where the people age in like a day on the beach? Did you see that movie that he did? You know what I'm
No,
talking about? Have you heard about this?
no,
He made a movie called Old like 2 years ago. These people are on a beach, something happens to them, and they age like dozens of years in like a day.
really?
That's
Okay,
I mean, again, I'm not going to watch it because I'm done. But yeah, Old is what it's called. So
interesting.
well, this what you're talking, this movie piques my interest because of the cameras they're using. I'd like to see that, but again, yeah, I need recon.
I
I
know
need
it.
multiple people to tell me, Matt, this is good. Watch it.
Yeah, it piqued my interest too.
Right.
So I might wait for it to stream, but when it's streaming,
Oh yeah.
I might watch
So
it.
that's the thing, is like, is it a gimmick? Is it something actually really cool? Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
hard to
But
tell with him too. It's like
right, right,
his background, so you want to believe that it's good, but it's
right.
like, but I
Yep,
also
I
know
know.
your background because
Yeah,
I
I know what
sat
you've
through
done to
it.
me. You
Yeah.
have made me mad too many times. So that is very true. So I know
So, do
that's
you want
how I
any
feel.
trivia from this?
I love trivia. I'll give it a shot. I don't know that I'll know them, but I would love to participate.
Do you know who Joaquin Phoenix replaced because they had to pull out of the film for a brain tumor that ended up being benign?
Oh Lord. Well, this is awful. I do not know the answer to that.
Mark Ruffalo.
Really? Okay. Well,
I
I'm
did
glad that.
not know he had a brain tumor, and I could
Oh,
totally see him playing that role.
I am glad that nothing bad happened to him after that. That's a good thing.
I know, I love him. He's like
Yeah,
he's very talented and also seems like a decent human.
it's a good thing.
So the crop circles are real because as we talked about, doesn't like CGI, and
That's
it
awesome.
was
That's so
shot.
cool.
Yeah, so it was shot on the property of an not architectural, agricultural school,
One of those.
Delaware Valley College, which is in Bucks
Okay.
County, where there were two areas of corn that were already growing, but they were at different stages. So the corn, they didn't have to like specifically grow it for the film,
Hmm.
which I thought was pretty cool.
Okay.
Johnny Depp was supposed to be in this movie originally.
I love Johnny Depp. Who was he going to play?
I don't know. It was not in the. I could not find it anywhere.
Okay. Interesting.
But speaking of people that I was surprised about being in this movie, Graham Hess, Mel Gibson's
Yep.
character, was
Yep.
actually supposed to be significantly older. So it was offered to Paul Newman and Clint Eastwood, and they both turned it down.
What? I could not see either one of them in that.
I
I don't
cannot see
know.
Clint Eastwood at all. Like, not even like a
Is he still alive?
pinch. I think so.
He's got to be like 97 years old.
Oh my God.
I'm serious. Yeah, yeah, he has to be. He has to be
I
almost
think
100
he's
now.
still alive.
I think
Somebody
he is too.
let us know.
Yeah, I think he is too. But he's got to be almost 100. That's amazing. Yeah, I don't know that I could see either one of them in that one. That they seem to. I don't know. Yeah, Mel Gibson's fine in that.
Yeah, and I'm not a big Mel Gibson fan for a whole bunch of reasons.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons to dislike him. So I don't think you're alone in that one. But anyway.
But he does a really good job in this movie, and
Yeah,
I
I think
think
he's
that
very good.
that should be recognized.
Yeah.
So during the opening scene, so this was something else like that always was like a big thing in the country. So they use crickets a lot in the audio. Did you notice this?
Yes.
So anytime that, like, what in the opening scene they use them, and as soon as the crickets stop chirping, Graham wakes up, and then
Mm,
they use the crickets to kind of like trigger the fact that you're about to see something scary. So they'll have the sound and then they
okay.
drop it,
See, I like that.
and it's actually inspired by the birds.
Really? Okay. God, I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Oh my
It's like
God,
20
that's
years,
such a
probably.
good movie.
Yeah.
So
I got to
you'll
sit
hear
down.
like the wings coming in. So it's kind of the reverse of the birds, because you hear the wings coming in and then you'll hear like they stop cawing. But you like,
Mm.
so it's like there's, well, it's not really the reverse, but it's like, yeah, oh my God. The audio in that movie is, you've got to,
See, that's what I mean. The guy does those great things. He's really good at that stuff. I mean, he knows how to do that stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Originally, the aliens were going to be invisible, but he couldn't get the effect he wanted. So they had to call an audible,
Hmm. Okay.
which might have been why they went with like more tried and true alien appearance.
Okay.
Um, and it takes it, I think, 90 minutes into the movie. Then aliens have only been on screen for 11 seconds.
See, that's what I like. I don't like to see a lot of the monster. That's good. I like that.
Yeah. You
I
love
like
that
that.
Jaws effect.
Blair Witch, never see, never see it.
Yeah.
Jaws, not till when he's sitting there. Why don't you chum some? Yeah, you don't see the. You're right. I don't want Alien. You don't see it till halfway into the movie. Like that's great because that's what it is. It's in your head. You see it. You know what it is in your head, and that's scarier because that could
Yeah.
be anything.
Yeah.
That's the best. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, totally. So continuing with the water theme that I complained about earlier, the crop circles actually create a trident.
Hmm. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Okay. Wow. Very
I didn't
cool.
notice it till I looked for trivia.
Okay.
And Officer Caroline Paskey, the one that you were talking about being prominently featured,
Yep.
who I
Yep.
really love her in this movie. She's so good. I'm so bad at actors and actresses, but
I don't
um,
recognize her from anything I've ever seen before.
yeah, I almost want to like
Right.
look on
Yeah.
IMDb right now to find out. But originally, she was a male character named Edward.
Okay. So
Um,
we had female aliens, male cops. Yeah, we had everything.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So I thought that was like a really interesting little like tidbit that I would have had no idea.
Okay.
Um, and then apparently the dramatic dinner scene, which we actually didn't cover. There are
That's
two
right.
things
There
we didn't
is
hit
that
in
scene.
this.
Yeah. What he gets all kirked out and then the kids hug him and he's freaking out. Yeah.
Yeah, so he asks everyone what they want for their
Oh,
last
yeah. And he wants to
supper.
have a cheeseburger and spaghetti and whatever. Yeah. That's right. I forgot about
And
that.
waffles, and he makes this
Yes.
giant meal that's like just ridiculous, a million different
Yes.
plates, and then no
Yes.
one wants to eat, and then he gets really mad and like bugs out on
I'm not
everyone.
saying
And
grace. I'm not doing this. Yeah.
yeah, because they want to say grace. Yeah, and
Right.
then they all start crying, and then he like flips out and eats off everybody's plates.
Yes.
So that only took 3 hours to film.
Only 3.
The pantry scene took 3 weeks to film.
Jeez. Was it because of just the set or because of the hand he had to chop off? Like, just say why?
No, but that reminded me that we never hit on the end, the alien that ends up picking
Oh, it's
up
the
the
same one that
son.
kidnaps him. Yeah, as you see his hand, the tightest shot of his hands. But you know
Yeah.
what? I think. Did that matter? Does it matter? No. Right?
Well, I guess it kind of does to me in a way
To me, it didn't
because
matter.
so to me it shows that this is a very vengeful species.
Okay, that's fair. But when I saw it and they did the tight shot of the thing, I just said, "Oh, that's the one from the house." But that was all it meant to me. It didn't mean anything significant to me. I don't know.
Because the other ones had escaped. They had all left.
Right.
That the ones that hadn't been
And
killed.
he was pissed off and he wanted to go, okay, yeah, I mean, I would too. Somebody
Yeah.
cut my fingers off, I'd be pretty pissed off with that person, yes.
I actually thought that might, when I saw it the first time, that might be leaving it open for a sequel
Oh, okay, well,
where they
20
come
years
back.
later, seems like we don't have one, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's been 10 years, so I
and 10 20. So, and please don't make a sequel.
God, yeah.
Because I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I think it would be super disappointing. I'm always disappointed when, not always disappointed in sequels. There are certainly good ones out there, but
Godfather 2.
Yep. Lord of the Rings, although that was written in that way, so it's a different.
Kill Bill. Is Kill Bill 2 better than the first? Maybe.
I don't know. And was it written at the same time? I think they were written simultaneously.
Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 I find better than his original Halloween.
Actually, there are a couple Halloweens that are better than the first one. There are like
the original John Carpenter or Rob Zombie? Because you would be, because I'm telling you right now, you would be incorrect if you said any sequel is better than John Carpenter's original movie. You are.
Yeah, and I think I'm
wrong.
Thinking of the wrong movie even now that I've said that.
You would be wrong. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
I'll take it.
You are incorrect on that.
And never invited back.
And we're just gonna leave it at that. That you saying any sequel in the Halloween franchise that is better would be an incorrect statement.
That's true. And honestly, when you said it, I was like, wait a minute. Rob Zombie's
2, because he did the remake, and I think his second one is better than his original. So
he did H2O.
No, he did his own take. He did his own films in 2007 and 2009.
Well, really?
Yes.
Clearly, I'm not as schooled as you in all these things.
I mean,
this is why you have the podcast.
They were what they were. Those are for another. Those are for another episode, right? Those are for another episode.
I love it. And that's pretty much. Other than to go out with a bang, apparently this was the easiest of all his movies to write and direct, and he wrote it in 6 months.
Wow. So how long does it usually take him to write something? God. Okay. Well. All right. Anyway. All right. Good. No, that's good trivia. That was cool. I didn't know most of the things at all because I didn't care.
But it's kind of interesting. It's like it kind of.
Oh, I love movies. I mean, that's what I love. When it's over, I want to watch the making of, and I want to know all that stuff. Yeah. How'd you make this? What happened? That's what I'm all about. That's what I'm all about. On this show, we are all about all of you loving us, and of course, telling your neighbors, your friends, your dog walkers, your physical therapist, everyone, to just tell them all how great the show is. Rating, reviewing, please email us, scarymovieproject@gmail.com. Tell us what you want us to watch, what you want me to review. Are there any more directors you don't like that you want me to talk about? I mean, we could do that, I'm sure. And Sarah, what else? Where can all of these wonderful people, where are they going to find you?
Probably the best place for them to look for me would be over at Laughing with Gingers, my podcast with Christina Curry, who was on here for Ginger Snaps way back in the day.
I have been a guest on said program.
Yes. You should definitely check it out. Today we dropped, well, of course, today is not today in real life, but
we're in fake life.
In our real life, Matt,
we're in fake life.
We dropped Psychological Hacks Part 1. It's dating and job interviews.
2 things people don't want anything to do with, or that 2 things people dread tremendously. Right? Would that be fair? Yeah.
Yep. And it's how you can use psychological hacks to get through them.
I like this. I'm gonna have to listen to this.
It's a good one. It's a good one. It's a little bit. It's a shorter one too.
Life skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then in 2 weeks, we're dropping Psychological Hacks Part 2, life hacks that you can use, including things to make people super uncomfortable.
Oh, I like that one too. And of course, speaking of Part 2, by now everyone's listened, of course, to Black Horror Part 1 and 2 we did with wonderful friend of the show, Bill Vaughn. So you'll love this episode now too. Of course, you love them all because they're great. Instagram, Facebook, you know where to go. scarymovieproject.com, scarymovieproject@gmail.com to email us. Hit me up. Tell me what you want to listen to, what I need to do, who I can rant and rave about. Let me know. But you know what? That's all I got time for now. I can't talk bad about anybody else. I'm exhausted on it. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you on the next episode.
Bye.
The Scary Movie Project podcast. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.